Welcome back to the Game Collection. Last time I talked about Kingdom Hearts 1, and as I continue to make my way through the story so far, I'll be talking about the second game in the series. Originally it was released on the Game Boy Advance as Chain of Memories, but was later remade for the PlayStation 2 as Chain of Memories. So, is a remaster of a remake worth your time? Let's find out. In my reviews, I tend to lose a good chunk of viewers within the first 3 minutes or so I'm gonna cut to the chase and I'll explain the rest later. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories in the 1.5 HD remix is Square Enix's third release of Chain of Memories, and somehow, after 3 attempts, the game is still a complete mess. The game is the most frustrating experience that I've had to put myself through for you, my viewers, and I wouldn't wish this upon anyone. The original release on the Game Boy Advance may be better, I'm not sure, but Chain of Memories is a trash game. Not because of the convoluted story, not because of the tedium, not because of the lack of exploration of the awesome worlds featured in other games, no. This game is garbage because of the number one thing that any game should be focused on, the gameplay. But I'm getting far ahead of myself, so let's reel it back a little bit and go through the game point by point, starting with the story. Chain of Memories takes place immediately following the events of Kingdom Hearts 1. As the game picks up, Sora, Donald, and Goofy are sleeping alongside the road, presumably the road that they were walking along at the end of Kingdom Hearts 1. Sora awakens to a hooded trenchcoat wearing mystery man telling Sora that Sora will need something along the road ahead and he'll need to lose something dear to him in order to claim it. Cut to Sora, Donald, and Goofy arriving at Castle Oblivion. The crew all seem to think that their friends are somewhere deep inside the castle, so they set off to explore it. Along the way through the castle, the crew start to forget things. Mysterious hooded figures tell our heroes that they are being stripped of unnecessary memories in order to remember their true memories. Objectively, the story and the way it is told is probably the best thing the game has going for it. I don't want to spoil anything for anyone, so I'll keep things vague, should the rest of this review not dissuade you from trying to experience it for yourself. The game plays out like a psychological mystery where the crew start to lose their memories of the events of Kingdom Hearts 1 as they ascend Castle Oblivion. On each floor, Sora revisits the worlds he explored in Kingdom Hearts 1, retracing their steps. Sora and company realize what's happening. They are torn between wanting to leave the castle or push onward, not knowing what they might forget next. It's a pretty spooky dilemma, and it was interesting to watch it play out. Subjectively though, it was all too easy to draw parallels to dementia and Alzheimer's disease, which hit a little close to home for me, and the carefree way in which our protagonists coped with memory loss was bizarre and difficult to believe, and some of the talk about how they couldn't possibly lose their most important memories seemed like the height of ignorance. Obviously, the game was probably not meant to represent mental illness or even draw parallels. However, that's where my mind went with it, and Square Enix's apparent tone deafness with the subject felt sort of uncanny. The worlds presented within Chain of Memories are a step down from those in Kingdom Hearts 1, owing to the game's Game Boy Advance roots. Each floor of Castle Oblivion consists of a series of rooms. At the doorway to the next room, the player can play room cards that determine what kind of room the next room will be, such as a save point, a room with weak enemies, or extra tough enemies, or treasure rooms, and so on. These rooms are themed to suit the world they represent, but are extremely repetitive and basic. They're not supposed to represent the real worlds that Sora has visited, but rather are representations made by Sora's memories. The end result is, simply put, bizarre. Visually, the game consists mostly of assets borrowed from Kingdom Hearts 1 as far as I can tell, and is on that note perfectly serviceable, save for some textures that are noticeably low resolution. In the music department, the game was great, as it also borrowed heavily from Kingdom Hearts 1. For a more in-depth impression on these aspects of the game, definitely check out my review of Kingdom Hearts 1. So what could possibly be so wrong with the game? It looks like Kingdom Hearts, it sounds like Kingdom Hearts, and it even has an interesting plot hook, but believe me, the similarities are only superficial. Chain of Memories is a card-based game. You may have picked this up when I described traversing through the rooms of the floors of Castle Oblivion. These cards are more than just themes though. The game also features card-based combat, and card-based combat isn't a bad thing in and of itself. But the way the game uses cards while trying to also be a fast-paced action RPG simply fails on all levels during later stages of the game. And this is a perfect example of why I refuse to review RPGs that I haven't finished yet. During the beginning of the game, you can get by simply by mashing buttons. Later, you need to build decks in order to pull off combos called sleights. But as the game progresses, fights get faster and harder until the whole system collapses on itself. Eventually, the game introduces new mechanics into boss fights, such as teleportation without warning that breaks sleights and prevents them from kicking off without warning. Boss fights later on in the game even scatter or shuffle your deck, breaking any combos you may have been able to pull off before, and the result is utterly infuriating. Eventually, the only way to win is to just try again and to pray to the RNG gods that the cards play out better next time. After playing through the game and watching the credits scroll, you can save the game and play a second campaign as a different character. And this second campaign is honestly much better than the first and mercifully much shorter. However, it also suffers from the terrible difficulty curve. During the second campaign, I decided to go easy on myself and play on novice mode, only to still get my butt handed to me repeatedly during the final bosses of the campaign. Again, with no other option but to simply try again over and over until I eventually vanquished my foes. The experience had me questioning if Square Enix actually had anybody playtest the game prior to its release. It bears repeating that this game has been remade for PlayStation 2, then remastered for PlayStation 3, and now again remastered for PlayStation 4, and it's utterly abysmal. They've had 3 chances to rebalance the game, and it's still inexcusably bad. It's irredeemable, and the cherry on top of this bowl of chocolate ass cream is that the only answers to all the questions this game has raised throughout its entire duration is just pseudo-philosophical word soup, meaningless non sequiturs that probably sound deep to people who think Velociraptor was one of the world's first great thinkers. This is the pitfall of letting JRPG writers run wild without an editor, and Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories fell deep into the darkness of its own navel. I hate being this angry. I hate having to give bad reviews, even when games deserve it, partially because of all the edgy trolls out there who will invariably call me an AVGN ripoff, but mostly because I don't like being mad. I prefer to focus on positivity of games whenever I can, but this game is irredeemable, and it kills me. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories doesn't deserve a spot in the game collection. It deserves a spot in my dumpster, but it's on the same disc as Kingdom Hearts 1, so I can't very well throw that away, which pisses me off a little bit more. For alternate recommendations, I recommend you watch somebody play it on YouTube, or maybe just read the plot synopsis on Wikipedia. For our recommendations of better games, check out my review of Quest 64 and Persona 3 The Answer. Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories is really, really bad. Don't play it.